over the world, there are ways to manage. So Nigerians have been clamoring for various solutions to the numerous socio-political, economic, and security challenges besetting this country. The cause are further buoyed by spiraling secessionist agitations by regional groups who have latched on the citizens' disenchantment. Nigerians are very disenchanted with our country, with our political class. Economic downturn and the pervading violent crimes and insecurity. If you look at the report of crimes in Nigeria today, it's like, wow, are we at war or something?
Almost like a war situation.
I mean, if I'm not mistaken, on the average, Nigeria will lose almost 20 souls every day. On the average.
On the average, yes.
Yes.
The ones that are reported.
The ones that are exactly what you know. So globally, devolution ensures that decisions are made closer to the people and the communities and businesses that they affect. You consider them, consider the people they are interested. So devolution provides greater freedoms and flexibilities at a local level, meaning councils can work more effectively to improve public services for their areas. So if power is given to smaller groups than one big person somewhere, deciding what happens locally in your environment. Scholars have also defined restructuring as a transition from a lopsided federal political structure to a true federalism, characterized by political inclusiveness, people-oriented constitutional amendments, resource control, electoral process, political representation, sharing of offices, citizens' rights, protection of lives and properties, and building enduring political infrastructure. Restructuring is also viewed as a constitutional review strategy aimed at helping the central government share some of its powers and responsibilities and grant implementation of constituent units. It is aimed at bringing the government as close as possible to the people at the grassroots. So, Fuad, at a point in time, the clamor of restructuring was the in thing. If you look at left restructuring,
conference.
Set up a conference
for restructuring.
Some of restructuring for our audience to understand.
Well, I think restructuring, like you just mentioned, our politicians are quick to jump on words if they sound good to the people. To them, right? Their understanding and philosophy and interest is not really for the specifics that should come from restructuring. Now, the call for restructuring actually has come from the agitations of the minority, supposed minority, who feel that in this unified nation of ours, their interest is not well taken care of. That as a nation, that sense of belonging is not there.
Not there.
And this comes again from the premise of, for example, the Southeast would argue that is it so difficult for us to become president? Why is that in this union? To just assent to become president has become a big thing. The issue of restructuring will also come from the Niger Delta, for example, that will look at themselves and say, why is it difficult for us to control our resources? The almost 90% of oil revenue come from our region, and it's the most impoverished. The people in the north, for example, who will tell you that, well, why is it that, we are the biggest. We are the biggest. We are the largest. When it comes to the food basket of the nation, it comes from all that side. Why can't we have some level of control and all of that? And so the Southwest will also look at the economy that comes from Lagos, for example, which is an integral part of the Southwest, and say, why is it that, for example, the MPA and all of these agencies are all here, and half of
the impact on the environment.
The environment, seriously. You have the trucks all over, the road is messed up. Let me give an example. In construction, for example, you have a situation where a lot of the federal buildings are still there. There are still lands with federal CFOs and all of that. Lagos said how to do that by creating a law using the Land Use Act to ensure that before you get to redevelop a federal property, you see that and all of those kind of things. So restructuring is big, is huge if we are to look here of their interest enough that the union, you look at yourself and begin to ask the question, am I really that has created a form of lopsidedness in resource structuring has become more at this time? Yes.
Now we look at the last Thursday, I remember we discussed. Don't you think that restructuring either has been misunderstood, or those who want it don't even, they don't have the will to implement it? Because as beneficial as we think restructuring will be to Nigeria, it has been very, very difficult, almost impossible for anybody to put it in motion. So what has happened?
All right, let's take specifics. I think that would help in answering that question.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let's look at, say,
I want to look at the issue of security, for example.
Let's take a look
now,
at. Okay, go ahead.
The major discussion out there when it comes to restructuring as far as security is concerned, for example, is the issue of state police. That's a major discussion out there, and you'll be shocked that if you ask, for example, the APC politicians, they will tell you they are for state police. You ask the people in the PDP, they will tell you they are for state police. But ask the simple question: how do you want to work it out? How do you want to make it work? What are the peculiarities of state policing that would create a balanced structure? Because again, the structure in the sense that, okay, well, look at security and say, oh, this idea of having, for example, the commissioner of police in Lagos State only answerable to the IG, who is answerable to the president, does not make any sense. When you have the governor of the state saying is the chief security officer of the state, whereas the apparatus of policing, apparatus of security, the structure of security in the hands of the police, he doesn't have a control over it. So people might say, okay, what kind of structure is that, where the governor of the state, who is the chief security officer of the state, in control, who is supposed to be in control of security of the state, cannot give orders directly to the commissioner of police in the state?
But the argument now, recently, is that it's erroneous to say the commissioner of police does not take order from the governor.
Okay.
They said no. That is not the true thing.
But that's the reality.
Yeah, that's the reality. But the idea is that the commissioner of police, the only way he refers to
the IG
is when, which is the problem with what do you call it now, with state police.
State police, yes, sir.
Is when the governor wants to use him against opposition.
What?
There's no way the governor of Lagos State, for instance, will tell the commissioner, look, there are disturbances in Oshodi. There are disturbances in Agege. There are disturbances in Ikorodu. There are disturbances in Ekpe. Go and put it in order. That the commissioner of police does not take orders from IG before doing that. But when it impacts on the life of other people, naturally he has to take to that. But then that is the problem of I think of state police. People say that the ruling person, the governor,
we misuse
it. Is that true?
Okay, let me first address the aspect of the commissioners being answerable to the governors of the state.
Yes.
You can't be answerable to somebody who cannot deal with you if you err in your duty.
Okay.
So the governor cannot, for example, look at the commissioner of police and say, oh, you've done the wrong thing, I'm going to sanction you. The governor cannot even remove the commissioner of police, cannot even repost the commissioner of police. You've had situations, for example, they post somebody to your state, they just say, oh, a new commissioner is coming. We've seen situations where elections are closed, and for some reasons, best known to the IG and the president, you see a lot of reshuffling going on of commissioners without the notification of the governors. They just tell you a new commissioner is coming. So the idea of, oh, the commissioners are answerable to the governor is just, for me, using half truth to hide complete falsehood. Economical with the truth. The fact is that the commissioner of police, the first allegiance is to the IG of police, who has a whole lot of control over him in terms of probably redeploying him, punitive measures if he errs, and a whole lot of things. Even the command structure of the state, in states, are even beyond the commissioners of police. You have area command. Over 100 policemen besieged Lagos, and the governor, they said, you don't know. I'm talking about the Magodo incident. And the governor acts directly from the IG. So that's one part of what we're saying. And you would even that can make him secure on those states. But he doesn't have the control of what makes a proper security. And it comes to the issue of abuse of power by the governors. People will argue too that 2-3 members of House of Assembly, the records are there with showmanship, or some of them are this powerful. Example I always give is the thing was moved from the hand up. Immediately governor enters. Let me come in. And I was if Oyetola, who is an APC governor now,
conduct election,
influences we are talking about. So it's across board. It's not a part. Suppose a Wike, for example, controls the state police. Things are making work.
I was coming to that.
Yes.
One thing we have, federalism is supposed to have the federal.
Real people,
we are not actually being. Any proposer has to on the 79.
The 79, yes, sir.
So all the noise about almost impossible.
Structural interests maybe let us even look at the Shagari era that you mentioned. We'll see that and continue to widen the gap between the rich as a country. Federalism would actually make these politicians more accountable. Chairmen, their local government chairmen, and even councillors. They are just Sanwo-Olu. Nobody's even. A doctor has taken the minds away, the minds of the people away from those people. The state governor gives to them. Any of not supposed to be their job.
But the question is restructuring.
Because a lot you like you mentioned, Jonathan, they don't have any constitutional backing. Our elected, as again, the politicians have been able to do. There are other under restructuring